Okay, quick review of how to write numbers in scientific notation form. Scientific notation is when you have a number, a first digit in the ones column preceded by a decimal, and then you're going to multiply that by 10 to a power. And we use these when we're dealing with very, very, very large numbers or very, 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 very small numbers. The numbers are so large that it's just too much to keep writing the zeros. Like if those zeros kept going, that's just a lot to write. So the scientific notation makes it an easy way to write numbers. Here's the process. What you want is you want this number right here for the decimal point to be placed after the first non-zero digit. So 2 all the way to the left is the number 2. You want that, the decimal point, to go there. And then we're going to follow that. And usually we're going to go ahead and round up. Most of the time you don't go farther than the hundredths place. Once in a while maybe the thousandths place. And then you're going to multiply that by a power of 10. Here's what you need to know. When the numbers that you're dealing with are any numbers greater than 1 or smaller than -1, meaning a positive or negative number that's not a fraction, then the exponents will be positive. And this is how you find the exponent. The invisible decimal point really is right here. So we're going to count all the way to where the new decimal point will be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9 will be the exponent. So for this number, that's a negative. This would just simply be, notice that doesn't make the exponent negative. The number is still negative. And you still move the decimal the 9 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just like that. Okay, when it's a very, very small number, this number converts to a fraction because it's less than 0. Whoops. Yeah, this number is less than 0. Or if the number is not less than 0. I knew that was something less than 1. Or actually the number is greater than -1. If it fits in that number line between 1 and -1 and through here, the exponent will be negative. Negative, remember, negative means, like if you have 10 to the -1, that becomes 1 over 10, a fractional number. So anytime you have a fractional number, the exponents will be negative. All right, so we're going to, here is the first non-zero digit, so 6, and we're going to write the decimal right after, so 6.12 times 10. We know this is fractional, so it'll get a negative exponent. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 6.12 times 10 to the -7. Okay, now when I'm going to talk to you about multiplying scientific, there's a few ways to do this. You could simplify this in here. You could take the 4.1, this is 10 to the 5th, so we'll move the decimal point out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in those empty waves, we could put the zeros. So that becomes 410,000 times, now this is a -7, so I'll put the 2.3. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on your calculator, you could just multiply that and then change it to scientific notation. Or, I think that takes up a lot of time. Here is what I recommend you doing. Since this is all multiplication, it doesn't matter the order. So rearrange the two numbers, 4.1 times 2.3, and then multiply the powers. 10.5 times 10 to the negative 7th, which is what I did right here. And then 4.1 times 2.3 is 9.43. And then when you multiply powers, you add, when you multiply powers of the same base, you add the exponents. 5 plus negative 7 is negative 2. And then if we wanted to write this in standard form, you just, since that's a negative 2, you're going to move that decimal. And then in that wave, empty wave, gets a 0. So all of this right here multiplies to equal this, or it can be rewritten like this. When you divide, kind of the same thing. You could simplify this first and simplify that, then divide, or do that. Divide 4.1, divide 2.3, and then when you divide 10.7 by 10 to the negative 7th, oh, yeah. So that's correct. When you divide powers, I'm like, wait a second, I think that's going to be weird. Nope, that's correct. Because when you take a number, let's say you take 5 and you divide it by a very, 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 very small number, that's going to be a huge number. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be like 5 5s after that, 5 zeros after that, something like that. So this should be correct, 10 to the 12th. Because 10 to the 5 subtract negative 7 is 12. All right.